I have time for one more quick video before I have to get ready for work this Friday morning. I'm up to the point in my story now where it's coming to an end, and I'm getting ready to leave, and he's in the discard phase, or the storage phase, if you will, because he doesn't really discard me at all, but I kind of skip ahead. Whenever something pops into my head that I want to talk about, I'll just record it, and I put it on the video, and I upload it, and I save it until I get everything straightened out. And I'm trying to stay in a chronological order to kind of get this story across to people. But the last 3 videos that I made were focusing on one incident where it all started to come to an end, and I had a run-in with the ex, or the supply, whatever you want to call it, and because it was coming up on Thanksgiving, and he's talking about cooking this big Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm just like, my family's all scattered. They either work or they have their own homes with their own families. We don't get together and do a big Thanksgiving dinner. We usually wait and do a big Christmas get-together, and he's telling me the child is coming, but I don't see that happening with everything that had happened in that week before that with the run-in between me and the mother. So I'm not expecting that to really happen. So as it gets closer to Thanksgiving, and I'm staying there less and less. I'm there when he's there. I'm still going there after work of the evenings and spending about an hour with him before he goes to work. And I'm stopping there on my way to work of the mornings and seeing him. And unfortunately, I'm still in this kind of brain-washed, brain fog, stupidity brain where I'm just, trying to hold on to the dying of the light. I'm fighting against the dying of the light, and I'm grasping at whatever I can to try to hold on to. But I know it's coming to an end, and I'm feeling, like I'm really not feeling sadness. I guess I was just I was in this kind of like survival mode at this point, and anger, and I don't have time to feel sadness. And I really didn't even feel like, the way you feel at the end of a relationship, you feel sadness, and you're thinking maybe, you can hang on, but I'm hanging on mostly just because I put so much into it, and I'm so humiliated by the way things turn out. I feel like the town fool. I feel like the idiot. I know there's a whisper campaign going on between friends and neighbors, and it's a small town, so, everybody knows about everybody else's business. But so he starts talking about Thanksgiving dinner, and he starts telling me this story. I wanted to tell this. I don't know why. I just feel like it's part of the narcissistic, it's part of who he is. He's telling me about several years earlier when he had decided that him and this woman were going to cook a big Thanksgiving dinner and invite all their relatives. He's telling me this story, which I don't know if it's even true or not. But he goes to the store, and he buys a big turkey, and he buys this really expensive ham and all the stuff that goes with. He's went and he's got extra table chairs and seats for people. They've gotten all this food and drink and everything, and nobody shows up. And he's just telling me, how pitiful he felt, and how he felt so shunned, and they'd spent all this money and cooked all this food and invited her family and his family, and mostly it was her family. He had only invited a couple of cousins and siblings. Nobody, he's telling me, nobody comes. They've got all this food now, and nobody shows up. And he's just like, that was the final straw for me. I was just done with all sides. I didn't want anything to do with any of them. They need to call my house. I tell them, don't pick up the phone, call my house. And I'm listening to this story, and I'm thinking, maybe that's why he wanted to cook a big dinner and invite my family to see if they would come. And I told him, I said, my family would come. they may not all be able to come at the same time because, of their schedules. But I said, my family's not like that. And if there's food, they're going to be, they're going to be there. But I didn't know if that was even true. And I don't even know why he was telling me that story, I guess. But I picked up on these things throughout the time I spent with him. And I picked up on it when he hoovered me later on, which coincidentally was near his birthday. Facebook tells you when it's your friend's birthday, and you would think at least one person would tell you happy birthday. And he said, I'm just going to unfriend all of them. I'm just going to not talk to any of them. And when it's their birthday, I'm not going to tell them happy birthday. And he's sounding like a child. And I said, well, are you sure you have your settings to where they can see it and they knew it was your birthday? Oh, they knew it was. They knew it was. They just they wanted to, shun me. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? What comes around, goes around, comes back around, because, you treat people like dirt. You treat people poorly. You treat her, and you treat, there's a reason why people don't want him around. There's a reason why his family doesn't have anything to do with him. They know that there's going to be some kind of trouble associated with it. The disgusting home, the first time I was in there, and at that point, I believe she was still living there. I believe what he had done was, because he did this to me, after this incident with the car window and her coming to the home, when I came back a few days after that, my things were all packed away into my cedar chest. All my clothes, anything that I had of a personal, pictures, anything I had that was there, that was personal, was packed into this cedar chest, and he had put it in the back of his closet and covered it up with old coats and things. So he was hiding that stuff from her. She was coming there on the nights that I wasn't there. No, but none of my things were bothered. But he had hid those things. And I believe that he had done the same thing to me when he told me to come to his home. The first time he wanted to prove to me that she wasn't there anymore. I believe that he had hid her belongings. Because, I had mentioned this in another video. The house was disgustingly dirty. And I had helped him clean. And he always told me, don't bother with the small bathroom. It's the toilet in there's messed up. I don't have the part to fix it, and we just don't use it. I've turned the water off in there, so you don't have to bother going in there to work to clean or anything. Nobody uses that. I believe that he had hid her things away from me and didn't want me to know. And I went back and got to thinking about it. And something did occur to me that I had overlooked, and he it was the condition of the home was so, and then when my friend told me that she was a very dirty person and didn't appear to be very clean, and he had always told me after the first time that I started staying there in the condition of the house, and the first weekend me and him cleaned it, and we really deep cleaned, and we shampooed, and we cleaned the floors and the counters and washed the curtains, and just really gave this house a really good, thorough cleaning. And he always blamed it on her. He said, she's just not a housekeeper. She doesn't clean. And then, after a few times after I had come back into the home, I started noticing the home was dirty again, and things that I had always kept clean and orderly were, dishes left laying out and stuff. And so I believe she'd come back, and I believe he was just trying to keep these two worlds from colliding. I don't know what the whole story is, but I know that I just got into that, and I started talking about Thanksgiving, and I got off on a different story, but I don't have time now to go into the Thanksgiving story, but I will in the next video. But it's just little lies that you pick up on. And this was when it all started to come apart. And I finally just, I never want to say that he discarded me, because I was ready to leave at that point. And And I pretty much did leave after Thanksgiving, what happened during the Thanksgiving weekend. And I will get into that in my next video.